Hello everyone, I am Gary Supreme. I just got done with the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view for 2020. This is March 8th. I, would ask you to please subscribe, leave a like, and here for us at Sacktown Slam. Now, tonight's Elimination Chamber was a little bit of white bread pay-per-view. Very predictable for the most part as far as your winners. There were a couple of surprises. So, we had... So... the first match that... Okay, so, excuse me. I'm gonna open this, make sure that I am looking at the right stuff. Just give me one moment. So, let's get past the kickoff show. You did have the Viking Raiders versus Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins for whatever reason, and this was evidently a squash match because Viking Raiders won. I don't know if this is trying to give the Viking Raiders momentum towards WrestleMania. I mean, as I've said before, WWE doesn't seem to have much love towards the tag titles anyways. So, we'll see where this goes. It ended pretty, quickly. And, a knee strike from Eric took down Hawkins. And then Hawkins got hit with the Viking Experience for the win. And then I believe that was the only kickoff match before the Elimination Chamber. Then you had Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. This match exceeded every expectation I had of it. I'm going to tell you, Drew Gulak is amazing. I mean, you want to talk about submission magician with Shayna Baszler. My goodness. This, Drew Gulak looks a lot like Dean Malenko. He really does. And granted, I thought they were going to give him the rub tonight, and I guess that didn't happen. And it was funny because it went from Gulak having the Dragon Sleeper, and there was a lot of this catch-as-catch-can kind of stuff in this match. But it went from Gulak having the Dragon Sleeper to Bryan getting the bell lock on him and then tapping him out for the win. There was a nasty spot during the match where he got dropped on his head in a not so bueno way. I'm a little worried about Daniel Bryan just because he got dropped on his head a couple of times during this match, but hopefully they knew what they were doing. So, and hopefully Daniel Bryan's okay. Then we had the WWE United States title with Andrade Cien Almas versus Humberto Carrillo. This was literally a cookie-cut carbon copy of all their other matches. Andrade is going to WrestleMania as your U.S. champ, and Humberto lost. At this point, I don't see any reason to push this feud anymore. Why? This is, at this point, I want to say the 6th time these guys have fought each other. With 4 weeks left until WrestleMania, either something big had to happen here, which it didn't. There was a chance of, Humberto getting dropped on the concrete again, which, why? And then, but what happened was, in the end, we saw the finish basically with a roll-up from Humberto. Let's see. Oh yeah, Andrade rolled up, Humberto, and he held the tights, and he got it for the win. Now, this scares me a little bit because it feels like this is going to lead to yet another encounter with the two. I hope that if they're going to swap the titles, it's on Raw, and then they let Humberto, move on. Because this title needs to move on from this feud. There's nothing left here to be said. I think that this title is bigger than these two. And I hope that, Andrade gets a decent match if they're just going to keep the title on Andrade. Which, back in the day, that would not have been the case, and he would have had to drop the title because, literally, he could not be there for Super Showdown because of his suspension. I don't know who's writing this stuff, but obviously they have a lot of faith in Andrade if they kept the title on him past Humberto Carrillo tonight. I'm shocked at that outcome. I really, truly am. Then let's see, what was the next match? We had the SmackDown Tag Team Title Elimination Chamber match. Okay, folks. I'm not gonna lie. There were some great spots in this match. You had a spot where I believe it was, which part of the Lucha House Party was it? I don't think it was Grand Metalik. I believe it was, oh God, I can't. One of the members basically climbed up all the way up to the top of the cage, does a shooting star press on top of the entire freaking group of wrestlers. Like, this must have been 8 wrestlers that he slammed his body on. Like, that was a trust fall like no other. For the most part, through the first, I want to say 3 teams, it was very much nobody wanted to pin anybody. And your first 3 teams were so it started out with New Day and the Usos. So cool, it's, again, one of the more popular rivalries in WWE history, so I was okay with that. So, Lucha House Party was the next one to enter the match. And this is where the match got quite interesting, because there was a lot of moves off of the top of the freaking pod in this match. I mean, if you want spot monkey addictions, this match had a lot of it. Yeah, Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik were the ones that represented Lucha House Party in this match. I have to say and give a lot of props for Lince Dorado for trying that crazy move at the top of the cage. Insane. So, let's see. So, Miz and Morrison were the next to enter the ring. And Miz and Morrison double teamed Dorado. And so, yeah, there was a hurricanrana from the top of the pod, which was insane. And this was from Metalik onto Morrison. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It was a very interesting, looking move. So, Heavy Machinery was the next team to come out there. And, there was a lot of clotheslines by Otis. A lot of cheers for Otis tonight. And then this is where everything just turned into absolute chaos. And there was just so much that went on. And then Otis and Tucker landed the compactor for a 3 count on Lince Dorado that eliminated the Lucha House Party. So Lucha House Party were the first to go, which, again, you couldn't have the Revival doing this. Why? I mean, I guess if they had a job, it wouldn't have really mattered either way, but no one believed Lucha House Party was going to win this. It had some great looking offense, but, anyway, let's see. Now this was the other interesting part. When the clock ran down for Ziggler and Rude to come in, Rude and Morrison worked together inside of the ring. Ziggler attempted to scale the cage. Otis slammed Ziggler onto the rope. Ziggler landed a somersault off the top of the pod onto the superstars below, which was amazing looking. And then Rude and Ziggler attacked Otis on the outside of the ropes. Otis clotheslined Rude to the top of the rope. Now, Rude goes for the glorious DDT. Otis counters with a backdrop. And then Otis got himself revved up. A full head of steam by Otis. And this was crazy. He ran right through the pod. Just boom. Shatters whatever particle board or glass or whatever. It obviously wasn't glass, so it was obviously particle board. But that was gone. Like, he went through and Heavy Machinery, was eliminated not too far after when Rude hit Tucker with Glorious DDT. So they were Heavy Machinery was eliminated, and then they got hit with. Then was it Ziggler got hit with Trouble in Paradise, and then they both got hit with Jimmy and Jay with Uso Splash. Ziggler and Rude were eliminated. They were also granted with a na hey 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 goodbye by the audience, which was funny. Rude said shut up. But yeah, so after this, there was some more stuff from the New Day. New Day and the Usos worked together to try to get rid of Miz and Morrison. Unfortunately, Kingston made his way to the top of the pod. As he jumps, nobody was home. And then Miz and Morrison quickly crawl in and cover Kingston. New Day is eliminated. So that left the Usos and Miz and Morrison. Now, I originally, on my predictions, I said the Usos. So I was pretty close on this one. However, after this one, I did end up 0 for 2 because in the end, all four men were in the ring as Morrison goes over the top ropes. Miz goes under the ropes. Miz lands a sunset flip pin as Morrison jumps over the top rope for a double pin, with Miz using the ropes as a legal assist. This was while he was doing the figure 4. And then Morrison did Starship Pain. And ipso facto, that was it. So they were still tag team champions. Miz and Morrison are tag team champions going into WrestleMania. For the SmackDown side of things are Miz and Morrison. Who are you going to have them face? You had them in an Elimination Chamber match pin the Usos clean. You had them in an Elimination Chamber match pin the New Day clean. You know, some of these things are very sketchy. I would hope that their opponents are Heavy Machinery, because they're so over right now. But I don't know what to say. I honestly don't. I think that it will be whatever it is. I'm not necessarily in agreement with this decision, because you literally had your entire tag team division out there tonight for SmackDown. So who do you have them face? That is the biggest question. That is the biggest question. Who do they face now? So then you had the no DQs match with Aleister Black versus AJ Styles. Now, do you remember in my preview and predictions when I said Undertaker and Kane would come out and help out AJ Styles? Well, I was half right. Undertaker came out, chokeslammed AJ, pretty much strangled Gallows and Anderson, and then AJ got black masked, and that was it. So, I was half right. But I think this, I don't know what they do with Aleister Black here after this. I mean, my hope is that this leads to a tag team match, but, I mean, WWE and logical booking don't exactly go hand in hand. So we'll see. I don't want Aleister Black off the WrestleMania card, but at the same time, this is more than likely AJ versus, the Phenom. So it was a decent match. I'm not gonna lie, but basically, end of it. Styles tries to sneak attack. Undertaker returns just in time to catch Styles and chokeslam him. The gong sounds once again. And the way the lights went out, Undertaker came in because what happened was both the club and AJ, they just dogpiled on Aleister Black. They were beating him up. At the beginning of the match, AJ was working the leg he does the Black Mass with. He even went as far as to get a kendo stick to just chop away at it. So he got his pound of flesh tonight. But yeah, the crowd pops again. Black struggles to his feet. He hits the Black Mass eventually on Styles for the 3 count. That was it. So then there was the Raw Tag Team match, Street Profits versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. This one was a little weird. You had AOP out there with Rollins and Murphy. Street Profits came out. During the match, you had the Viking Raiders come out. I feel like this sort of took away from the pop that, the Street Profits were going to get. Because what are you going to do now? I mean, is it going to be AOP, Street Profits, and Viking Raiders for the titles at WrestleMania? I mean, I'm not going to be against something like that. But, I mean, with the Street Profits, they won this match. I did not think they would win this match. But, at the same time, since they won, what do you do with Rollins and Murphy? Granted, the way they lost was quite entertaining. So, Viking Raiders and AOP, during the match, they ended up fighting. They took their fight away from the ring. And then there was a point, and I want to find this here. Okay. So, Rollins was angry about the way, Murphy was fighting. Kevin Owens was spotted walking through the crowd with some popcorns. Owens shrugs, going over to the barricade with his popcorn. Then he threw the popcorn in the face of Rollins. I guess they said he got some salt in his eye or something like that. So, Buddy Murphy flew over the top rope. He was caught by Dawkins and Ford. Back in the ring, Ford tags in, and then you had the frog splash and the 3 count for the pin, and Street Profits win. So, yeah, it was by interference by a lot of people. I mean, whether it was the Viking Raiders or Kevin Owens, but this, where does this go from here? I'm a little baffled. Are you going to settle this at the Jobber Memorial Battle Royal? Or is there going to be some big 8-man tag team match, which, knowing them, yes, but I would hope that that's not the case. But I wish that they would not do this. Then you had the Handicap Intercontinental title match between Braun Strowman versus Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. Not a whole lot to go over here, because it was really 3 guys just demolishing one. I mean, Strowman thought that he had it with his strength. He got Kinshasa'd in the head. He got Halula kicked in the head. He got European uppercutted in the head. And that pretty much ended a lot of things. There was a suplex at the end. And, Strowman lifted Cesaro on his shoulders. Zayn was there for the stave. Then running away, Strowman knocked to the mat by Nakamura. Zayn, the legal man, once again. Zayn excited and jumping around. Zayn lands a kick to Strowman with the assist from Nakamura and Cesaro, which I believe was a Halula kick. And then Zayn gets the cover for the 3 count. So Zayn has his first, I believe, singles title on the quote-unquote main roster. So, good for Sami Zayn. He deserves it. I don't know where this goes from here. Because why would you give Strowman a rematch? And a rematch between Strowman and Sami Zayn does not sound very exciting or WrestleMania worthy. So, I don't know about you, but if you're going to do anything with Sami Zayn, put him up against Aleister Black. I mean, just do it. That is a WrestleMania worthy IC title match. Because it's a workhorse title match. If it's not going to be a tag team match with Undertaker and Aleister Black to, make his star shine brighter, then you need to be giving the IC title to Aleister Black. I don't know about Sami Zayn, because it was very weird that they put the title on him right before WrestleMania. If you are going to keep the title on him, you need to have him beat someone else other than Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is and has been a dead act for a very long time. So, just keep it off him. Then you had the final Elimination Chamber match for a spot at WrestleMania against Becky Lynch for the women's title. Okay, it was Shayna Baszler versus Asuka versus Natalya versus Ruby Riott versus Liv Morgan versus Sarah Logan. So, your first people in the chamber. So Ruby Riott and Natalya were the first 2 people that were in the ring. I mean, this match, it was okay, but it was very short and very concise. And no, we did not see, unfortunately, we did not see Ronda Rousey, and I can pretty much size this match up in 2 sentences. Basically everyone was choked out by, in some way, shape, or form, by Shayna Baszler. Everyone. Like, Baszler had a good 2 minutes to herself after she eliminated Natalya, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan. She literally choked them out within the first minute or so of her being in the ring. It is absolutely amazing that happened, because I don't think that's ever happened before in the history of this match. Then Liv Morgan came out. Liv Morgan was choked out, and they had to literally sit there, and I had to hear Asuka sit there and cuss out, Shayna Baszler in Japanese sit there and say, baka, baka, baka. I love Asuka and her fire when she's sitting there mouthing off to people in Japanese. It is quite amusing. I'm going to say I want to see a rematch between Asuka and Shayna Baszler. That's gold. Those two, they know how to perform. They would obviously, if you make Asuka a face again, and you put her up against Shayna Baszler, the sky's the limit for that match. And I'm not even joking. Asuka is one of the most underrated talents that WWE has. Push this woman. Push her. And no, I don't mean the women's tag team titles, because those titles don't mean anything. Sorry to burst everyone's bubble. How many times have they defended that in the last few months? I'll give you a clue. 0. So, please, give this woman something to do. Asuka's obviously not going to WrestleMania, which is unfortunate. It will be Shayna Baszler versus, Becky Lynch, as we all suspected, ever since Nosferatu bit into Becky Lynch's neck. I expect big things from this match. They've been setting this up pretty much since Survivor Series. So if you really want to think about this was already in the works months ahead of time. So in that sense, for everyone that says WWE doesn't have long-term booking, at least in this sense, it appears that they did. So I don't know how long-term, because we've all heard stories about Vince. We've all heard them. But it does appear that no, Vince is not soured on Shayna Baszler, and some of those were obviously greatly exaggerated, if that was the case. So, pay-per-view, in terms of scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it probably a 5. Very average, very white bread. It didn't amaze me, but I'm going to tell you, your sleeper match of the night, which is very reminiscent, to me anyway, of Orange Cassidy and Pac at Revolution. Gulak versus Daniel Bryan was a great match. And I'm one that has respect for ring acumen. And I've talked to people who have wrestled the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. I think everyone knows who that is. And it's just amazing how this guy works, the ins and outs, what he does. It is amazing. So, I loved that match. Some of these matches, way too obvious. And I mean way too obvious. You cannot literally have matches like what you did with the women's match, where you choke out every single piece of competition and leave one piece of competition. If the whole thing was for everyone to job to Shayna Baszler, you could have just as easily done this in a different way, like on Raw or something, and made this an Elimination Chamber match for the SmackDown men. I don't feel that in this instance the women needed a match. I think the SmackDown women honestly needed an Elimination Chamber match more than the Raw women. I think all of us seen this as a predetermined result. Because why would you not go with Shayna Baszler here? I mean, it's just a little bit suspicious here. I mean, obviously, we want to do this because Shayna Baszler is a cage fighter. Oh, yes, I get the appeal, but why? I guess putting her in her element and making her look really big was a big deal. My question now, who wins at WrestleMania? Are you going to have Becky Lynch take a dive at WrestleMania for Shayna Baszler? I mean, she has had the title for a year now. I mean, by the time WrestleMania comes around, it is going to be a year, and her title reign, not a lot of people get over a year title reign unless your name is Brock Lesnar or something of that nature. So I'm shocked that that's been the case. I can't really say what else is going on, but, that is the case. I'm taping here! But anyway, and then during one of the interviews, which was an interesting little thing, they were interviewing Rude and Ziggler before the Elimination Chamber match. And again, they show the symbol and the thing flash on the screen that they usually have Raw or SmackDown symbol on. Supposedly this is about Killer Cross. I don't know, and I'm not going to assume that. So it could be about anything, because we've been getting cryptic messages on NXT as well. So this could be about anything. And since we know Matt Hardy is not coming back to the WWE, that makes this that much more interesting. Because we could be getting two new wrestlers that I have no idea of who one is. If it is about the same wrestler, I mean, I guess, spreading out your message between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT is somewhat interesting and does somewhat leave us, in suspense. But other than those things, there really wasn't a whole lot to this pay-per-view. Not a whole lot. It was, as I said, very average and somewhat underwhelming for an Elimination Chamber. A lot of high spots, like you would expect at an Elimination Chamber. But again, if Vince is trying to shop his product to ESPN Plus, I don't know if this one is what you would call something that's going to be worth $60. Because I would not pay $60 for this pay-per-view. It is absolutely, it is not worth $60. It's not. And you've been giving away these pay-per-views for $10 a month for so long now. I don't know if you sit there and swap things for WrestleMania, how that's going to go. Now, they did say during a promo that WrestleMania would be on the network, which is good. That is a good thing. But I think that, it's going to be interesting. Because I don't think people are going to pay $60 a month for the WWE Network. I don't. And if the quality is consistently like this, And honestly, it's not that you stack up your pay-per-views with people like Cain Velasquez and Tyson Fury and Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey. You don't need to stack up your pay-per-views with people like that. What you need to do is get behind the talent you have and tell a good story. Investment in your work and good booking is going to be what sells to the fans. It has always been what has sold to the fans. I have to say that with 4 weeks, 28 days exactly, left before WrestleMania, I'm not digging WrestleMania. Things are so predictable, and they are. I mean, the tag team titles, it's not really predictable, but at the same time, why am I supposed to care? You had so much go on tonight that, in 4 weeks, you have a lot of work to do for whatever you're going to do for this Monday Night Messiah thing and how you're going to make it relevant to the Tag Team Championships. And you have a lot of work to do to build up some sort of credible threat to Miz and Morrison. And in 4 weeks, do I believe that WWE is going to do that? I'm not sure. And it's depressing the way that they just tape feuds together because they can. I still think the Usos, in the end, are going to get the rub, and they're going to get the spot at WrestleMania. And I still think that in the end, I mean, for Raw, who knows? I mean, if it's not Owens and Samoa Joe, and by the way, the reason you didn't see Samoa Joe tonight is because he is serving out a wellness violation suspension. And yes, that was announced on WWE.com. That's official. And it is what it is. Now, do I think those guys are going to get a shot at the tag titles? No. Do I think those guys are... I mean, I don't know what those guys are going to be doing now. I don't even know what Kevin Owens' purpose is fighting Seth Rollins now. I mean, end it. It's over. The tag titles are on someone else. But this means that if that's the case, there's a good chance Kevin Owens is not at WrestleMania. There's a good chance this year Seth Rollins may not be at WrestleMania, which is hilarious as he fought and beat Brock Lesnar last year. I mean, how far the mighty have fallen. I just... What are you going to do? I mean, Seth Rollins is one of the most athletic guys they have, but they really ruined him after Hell in a Cell this year, back in October. So, again, that's not even on Seth Rollins. That's on the company. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot to say about this show. So, I would say, for Gary Supreme, this is my review for Elimination Chamber 2020. I am Gary Supreme, and I am signing off.